So yesterday I was emptying my black tank on the RV,
and put up.
and as my wife says, I blew it up. No, I was conveniently, this RV has a rinse nozzle where you can hook up a hose and you can rinse the black tank out. But on the valve of the black tank, it says do not rinse with this valve closed. Well, I don't listen. So I closed the valve so I can fill the black tank out. Fill the black tank up so when it's full, then I can open the valve and flush it out. Well, that didn't work out so well yesterday because I drained the tank, hooked up the hose, closed the valve, and I proceeded to fill the tank back up. Now this takes about 5 minutes. And then I shut the water off and I drain it out. I flush it out that way. Okay, so I start this whole process and then my phone rings. So I get in the truck and I was talking on the phone while all of this is going on. And about 5 minutes later, my wife comes out and says, "Hey, I heard a big boom inside the RV." Didn't think anything of it. I'm still talking on the phone. I told the person on the phone, I'm gonna have to go. Something's wrong with my wife. I gotta find out what's going on.
And water was coming
Meanwhile, I'm seeing water drain down off my roof. Again, I just think, well, that's just the air conditioner. No big deal. But a lot of water was coming off the roof. Still not clicking that, hey, what's really going on? Well, come to find out, the water in the black tank filled up, went up the vent pipe, and was coming out the roof. Now my wife says she heard something like a door slamming inside, so that troubled me. I'm thinking maybe one of the straps on the black tank may have broken. I don't know, I have to look at it. But when I went to go look at it, our RV has insulation or an undercover that covers all the tanks. I forgot what the material is called. I went online trying to figure out how to remove this so I can inspect it and find out what exactly is going on. But every thread, everything I've seen online says you don't want to remove this stuff. And then when I looked at it, it looks like it's got a big the fasteners have a big washer and like a pin here. I got one. Let me show it to you. I was saying, see, it's like this rivet, but it's not threaded. This is just going into the steel of the I-beam. That doesn't seem very secure, but that's how these things are held up there. But I couldn't figure out how to remove them, so I took it upon myself to go out there, and when I took off there's like a little plastic cover on it. When I peeled that off, it looked like a bolt head. So I got a 9mm wrench and I tried to unscrew it, not knowing it wasn't a screw, and it still wouldn't come off. So I wiggled it back and forth until it came loose. It came out like maybe a fraction of an inch, and then I got a claw hammer and I stuck it up under there and pried it out. Simple. So now today I'm going to go under there and pry a few more out and see if I can gain access to this and see if I've done any damage. I'll continue this when I get out there. The line wrench I was using to wiggle these rivets loose so I can pry them out. I found a pair of vice grips, so I think those will work a little bit better. So I'll give them a shot. Okay. Okay, I hope this lighting's good enough for you to see under here. Alright, so this right here is the propane line that has regular screws holding it up, so I can let that down. And this is what those rivets look like. See, this is that little plastic piece that just chips off. Hold on a second. See, that's what confused me, is that just looks like a screw, but it isn't. So I get some vice grips. Get a little grip on it. Nope. Maybe I'll have to use a line wrench after all. Wiggle it loose a little bit. Of course, now it ain't gonna fit. Whoopsie. Alright. With one hand, it's not all that easy. Alright, there it is. Just wiggle it down a little bit. The ones I did before were a lot easier. Once you got it down like about 1/8 of an inch, take the vice grips off. Take a claw hammer, wedge it in there, pop that baby out. Once you get nothing down, that'll bend down. That'll give me access to look under here and see what kind of strapping. Let me get the rest of these things off and I'll show you guys what it looks like under here. Alright, so I figured out what happened. What it was is, see, there's the black tank. What had happened is that noise that my wife heard is it actually popping off of that beam right there. And it's supposed to have this strap right here, it keeps it from hitting the ground, but it doesn't actually support it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack it up and get it back onto its support beams, and then tighten up that strap so it actually supports it in the middle. There's another beam on the other side, but you can't see it. But I'll get that done and I'll see if I can get a picture of it once it's done. Project's done. What I wound up doing is cutting that black undercovering all the way across so I'd be able to see better what I was doing. I peeled that back a little bit, and I was planning on getting some Gorilla Tape or something like that to seal it back up. But at any rate, I peeled that back. I used a scissor jack and a piece of plywood, and I jacked up the black tank, slid it back on the back beam because it was welded on. And on the front one, I got lucky because it's held on by 2 screws. So what I was able to do is undo those screws, jack the tank up, and slide it back underneath the arm so it held it up. Screwed it back on and it was supported. Then come to find out that the strapping that was supposed to, like a fail-safe to support it, that was way too loose. I didn't like that. So I folded that over a couple times and put a screw through that and refastened it and put the black covering back over it. And now I got to run up to Walmart and get some self-tapping screws. I'm going to use those instead of those rivets. So if I ever have to gain access to it in again, which I do plan on doing that because I want to put some better insulation under there. But it'll be a lot easier to get to. But I never want to do a project like that again. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you learned something from it, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have a nasty comment, don't bother leaving it. If you have any good comments, hey, go ahead, leave them. I plan on heading down to Florida here pretty soon, so subscribe to Chainbreaker RV, and you'll see those videos as soon as we post them. Thank y'all for watching. See ya.